Welcome back if you're welcoming back or if you're coming back. This is kind of random. I had a thunk, but then I lost the thunk. So I don't thunk it no more. But it will come back. But I can start off by saying this, that I have a most amazing mother because of who she is. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a product of her. I'm a product of my own making. But I am her offspring. I am the fruit from her. And to not lose a train of thought and get scattered or to asterisk out to many things. Most of my papers at school couldn't be graded because of the fact that the obscurities got the better of me and going off on tangents that amounted to something kept my imagination flourishing in those areas where it would just expound and expound and expound. And one word might take me off like a kid in a toy store. It's like, hey, look what's over here. So I would always be expounding and I would lose focus and lose the point. But I've gotten better. Having an exacerbated near fatal head injury from the accident kind of might have jogged things back into place. You never know. The mind is supposed to be an incredible thing. I mean, they got humans digging into everything. But look at DC. You know, the Egyptology and all the influence. It's hard to have a mind in DC. But my mom did. My mom was a single mother, and she raised two of us combatively. I fought for everything I had against everybody in front of me. I started to, I mean, the stories are that at 4 years old, actually at three, and I've got a photo to prove it. I'm going to use it as as a cover for this. At around 3 years old, back then we had box cameras, so you'd have a box with two lenses on the front, and one was to see what you're looking at and focus it, and the other was to just snap the entire area, focused or not. And you had to lift the lid up off of this box to look down into what was known as a viewfinder or view screen. And it was like it had a mirror inside. I know this because I took one apart at like 4 years old, 3 years old. It had a mirror that would reflect the image from the magnifying glass on the front of the box up and into the screen, and you would look at this image, and that's when you would down press a switch on the side of it and it would take the image. At three, I told somebody, I can't remember who it was one of my cousins or something, to take a picture of me. I wanted to pose because I had seen people posing on TV and doing stuff on TV. So that's one of my earliest memories, besides getting my cousin to pass this cool brick through the fence and it wouldn't go through the fence. So I told him to throw it up over the fence. And I catch it, and he did, and I didn't catch it, and it hit me in the head, and everybody thought that he attacked me. And he got the living bejesus beat out of him. But I told one of them to pose. See how I go off? I told one of them to take a picture of me. I wanted to go out and pose for it. So I went out and posed on down the corner on this wall, and I put my foot up on the wall like a model, and then I put my arm across it. I mean, you see guys doing this in advertisements all the time. You can't tell me you don't. The guy is sitting there and one leg's dangling and the other's bent, and he puts his arm up over it, and he's he's sitting there grinning like an Old Spice commercial or something. You know what I mean? You've seen this stuff, right? So I went out and posed on the wall and had someone take a photo of me. And like my imagination took me places. So my mom being single, she was amazing. She had to take my mind places to keep me out of trouble because at 7 years old, a friend of mine ate his dad's gun. I mean, we were playing, and the next thing you know, everybody's screaming and crying, and I just started screaming and crying because it was sad. I mean, when you're a child, you have certain empathies that you lose as an adult, and when people are sad, you're sad with them, or sad for them, or you don't want them to be sad, or you cry because they're sad. I mean, you feel all these things. It's like there's no one description. There's like a rush of all these things. And so at 7 years old, a friend of mine just took his dad's pistol. I guess he saw it on TV, where somebody pretended to commit suicide or something. And he ate it, and that was it. Nobody ever saw him anymore. And it registered. But my mom was amazing. I mean, she got us through all this alone with her sisters and her girlfriends, and we had a neighborhood. I mean, I knew the people in the next building. I knew the people down at the house across the street. I knew the grocers. I knew the people down the street. I knew everybody. And my mother raised me this way. She raised me through this. Like I said, I walked to school at 5 years old by myself. But at the same time, at that time, responsibilities were like, it's like village fun, village amusement, village amazement. I would go shopping with her or meet her after school. Like when I got off from school, she would say, "Meet me downtown because you need a winter coat," or "Meet me downtown because you need shoes," or something like that. "Meet me after I get off from work," and I'd walk down there, and I'd walk through a six square gymnasium style secretarial pool just full of women in cubicles. I mean, literally stuff that was almost as high as me, like 4 foot, 4 foot and a half. Cubicles with women in them doing statistics for the general accounting office. And my mom was in a sea of them, and I knew exactly how to negotiate the labyrinth to get to her desk. And then we would go shopping, which was an ordeal because I had fashion sense. I mean, let's face it, I didn't like what I didn't like. I liked what I liked, and some of it was influenced by the kids abusing me at school. You know, um, I mean, imagine going 8 hours every day with kids looking at your shoes and laughing about them or coming up with new names for them. Like, you're wearing the boxes instead of the shoes or something. So, because I needed orthopedics, and my mom, everybody's telling me if you don't wear orthopedics, you're going to grow up with flat feet and no arch. But the shoes were hideous. I mean, they looked like Herman Munsters. And so that was an ordeal. But getting a coat was an ordeal. That was pretty cool. So, because those fabricated fur-lined coats with the hoods were awesome, and they kept, we walked to school in blizzards. No cars were on the street, and we were walking in the street because walking through the sidewalks was like climbing Mount Everest. It was like knee to chest all the way to school. Who wants to walk like that? So my phenomenal mother prepared me for all of this because she made my clothes. I had hand tailored clothes. We were poor, so I had powdered milk, and sometimes, like my friend around the corner, they lived in a house, but he drank sugar water. I mean, that was his beverage of choice. Hey, take a spoonful of sugar and put it in water. I never could appreciate that, but people actually inject that stuff into your veins. It's like a glucose formula or something like that. But I had handmade clothes, hand-picked shoes, hand-picked clothes when we could afford it. And my mom did this with two boys that fought their entire lives by herself while going to school, getting a higher education, and bettering herself at what she did. And so she's 91 and still she's been living independently forever. I mean, we were so combative that about when I turned about 23, 24, she just moved out and left us there to fight it out between ourselves, and that never reconciled. So we went our separate ways. But everything she did, I mean, moving up in life, moving out of impoverished areas where we had a cat and rat traps all over the place. Uh, People could easily break into your house and walk off with what you did amass and were trying to get ahead with. Nobody, she didn't want to live like that. I don't think I wanted to live with the alarming instigation on my emotions that caused like this explosion of energy that just disrupted your whole nervous system. It's like coming home and finding out that you had been robbed. Someone took your piggy bank. You're walking up the street seeing pieces thrown here and there where they ripped the top off and stole your money that you saved. So this phenomenal lady that's 91 now got me through all of that. I went away to camp in the summertime. Geez, those are stories. Every summer. It was a day and night camp down in Rock Point, Maryland on the Wicomico River, Camp St. Charles, run by these Salvatorian fathers. And there was a whole curriculum. We lived in cabins in the woods on the waterfront. I mean, the water is literally 25 feet away from me, 30 feet away from me with picnic tables. How cool was that? And you could take a canoe out, rowboat out, but you had to do it, administratively. You had to ask for permission and stuff. Of course, I never did. I just like, yeah, boat, let's go. Then there'd be a brother in the dock saying, Stefan, come back. You've got to check that out, and you can't just do it anytime during the course of the day. You've got to do it when it's time to go in boats and there are people there to watch you and you don't die. But, being a kid, I mean, I put it like this. At 19, I tried to get a job there and I helped get the place prepared. We had to de-winterize it. I helped get the place prepared for 2 months to get ready for the kids to come in the summer, and I got fired. And a group of them got around me and said, everybody thought you had changed, but your cabin master, Brother Bob, he said, no, he hasn't changed. Well, we were wrong and he's right. And dude, they fired me on the spot, and that was the quietest ride, like 2-3 hour ride home I'd ever had. That broke my heart, man. I went home. I was prepared for summer at the place that I grew up, and they didn't want me back. But my mom did her best. I mean, I had tutors and mentors, and I had to up my reading skills and my spelling, which still sucks. My mom did all of this. So it's like this lady's 91 now, and we still laugh and talk to each other. She suffers dementia. She can't remember a lot of stuff, but the stuff that she remembers is awesome. And I talk to her on the phone like she's getting to know somebody new, but at the same time knowing the same person. 'Cause she can't, she doesn't know what day it is, what month it is. Sometimes she forgets who I am. She'll look at me and she'll go, "Who are you?" Then she'll come back to me. So basically taking care of herself until like early this year. And now I got to watch out for her. I put her in a nursing home because she fell and I didn't even know she fell like at 87 and fractured her hip and has a plastic hip or whatever they put in, and she just fell again. Now she's got 3 titanium screws, and she's like, "When am I going home?" I was like, "Mom, you're not going home. You're going into a nursing home. People have to watch you. You might punch one of them or something like that, but we got to get you taken care of." So if I'm anything, I'm her son, and she taught me how to survive. She's the one that perpetuated my karate lessons. So I love my mom, and she told me she loved me the other day, which was awesome.